Can I, Amit, invite you for a few minutes upstage so that we know you and we can recognize you, and for you to just offer some comments and some further inspiration for us as we go forward in our journey of following your dream and ours. Amit Goswami, renowned physicist, author of many books, very famous personality, lots of YouTubes you can see on him, and we're delighted that he's here today.
Thank you, Tony, but all of this is still a little bit exaggeration. I am really neither very famous nor deserve any of these acclamations, but it is true that I am a theoretical physicist and been very curious about various things. And what I always ask is the question, is there a theory for all this? The whole evening we have heard very experimentally oriented ideas. But you know, frankly speaking, this is not really scientific. It seems like science, but it's only half science. Evidence is not scientific. Evidence is completely dependent on what assumptions, what theories you are using to base your evidence. This failure is making medicine especially, or things like spiritual practices, yoga and all this. It sounds wonderful, especially when mixed with humor. I love it. But the fact is that science is a two-pronged subject. Science is a combination of theory and experiment. This combination works. We have 400 years of experience now, and whenever we violate this combination, we invite disaster. Today, science is making a great mistake because it has adopted a philosophy called scientific materialism, which is not scientific, which is a theory. No experimental data to verify it. The evidence is all circumstantial. There is a whole bunch of spiritual stuff, living energies. This is what this evening was about. It was very nice to hear. But again, we are not really hearing any theories. Now we will ask, can one give a theory? Well, fortunately, we have a possibility of a theory now. It's still in a very rudimentary stage. I don't make any big claims. But I wrote a book called The Quantum Doctor and wrote similar books about spirituality as well. Because quantum physics is promising us to give such a theory. I'll give you an example, because this is, after all, a place where most of you are medicine doctors. I'll give one example of what theory does for us. You all know that there is a self in the brain based on the neocortex. The explanation was one of the accomplishments that I did have, which is that the brain is very special. It has memory and cognition mixed together, makes a tangled hierarchy, technical name, don't worry about it, but that enables consciousness to be represented in the brain, which is what we experience as our self. Now, for a long time, I was very mystified by the fact that women are more heart-oriented. Some women don't even acknowledge the brain-based stuff, which is mostly thinking. In fact, you know, I had a wife back in the 70s who constantly would say to my declarations of great love that it's all cerebral, learn to love with your heart. So because it was a challenge and she kept challenging me, I took that to my heart and I tried to discover what is this heart about. So I had to go through discovering energies, and there was some talk about energies. I loved it, you did too. And that's good, but that was not enough, because still we have energies and vitality is very important, and physical body, vital body are connected. These are very old knowledge that we have already. in the systems of Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, and developed all this. So that was good, a scientific explanation that can be given on the basis of quantum physics, and that was wonderful. But still, what is this heart that women talk about? So eventually it turned out that neuroscientists discovered a little brain in the heart. And that's very interesting. If there is a little brain, then it has memory-making capacity. I already knew from the explanation of the chapters that I developed that heart has cognition capacity with feelings of love. So cognition plus memory makes a tangled heart. So finally, dawned on me, the heart has a self, and this is what women talk about. They feel with their heart, with the self. Wonderful. So what can we talk about this? What can we say about this? Dr. Brown mentioned already that sleep is very important. Sleep is especially important because the neocortex has a self, and we cannot just be conscious all the time. Conscious awareness all the time is not possible for the brain to handle. So the neocortex goes to sleep. Every night we need that for the health of the whole body. Make sense? Now the system of cognition in the heart is based on the thymus gland, and part of the immune system is in this region, part of it is lower. But what does the immune system do? It distinguishes between me and not me. And when that distinction disappears, we are in love, right? You are mine, I am yours, and all that stuff. Wonderful again, but what does that mean? That means that the immune system also has to be suspended every once in a while, and why not? The immune system is the second most important system of the body. It makes sense that the immune system will have a cell, will have similar needs as the neocortex does. But immune system suspension comes only if we are in love, when we love someone. So do you see what I'm getting at? If we don't love, if we don't have love in our life, it's even more important than we have heard about stress, we have heard about all these things about mental hygiene, all very important, no doubt. But love is extremely important also, because without love we don't have immune system functioning very well. And what are today's chronic diseases are all about? They are all about immune system malfunctioning. So when we have a theory, we can learn things like this. I'll tell you another thing. This Dr. She talked about really, and she really shamed me, because all my life I have maintained a gut of 86 centimeters, and now it's 92 centimeters. Thanks to you, doctor, I'll take off that 2 centimeters. I'll try my best in the next 4 weeks. Okay, aside from that, what can you say about our gut? What can I say about our gut? Again, there is a little brain. There is a little brain in the gut also. So gut also has a self. What does that mean? The gut also needs rest. How can we give that rest? By fasting occasionally. So every once in a while, bring these two things back in your life. Theory does these things for us. Theory tells us these things. With just pure data, we could never figure out why fasting has been a common aspect of all humanity all over the time, except recently. Now the doctors say, well, eat frequently, eat every 3 hours. Bad advice. Give time between food. Fasting is absolutely essential, just as sleep is essential, just as love is essential to our life. Thank you very much.
I just also wanted to mention that Amit is devoting a lot of energies in his life to a lot of teaching, and he's currently here on a teaching assignment